Welcome to Ministries Podcast. This is the month of July, and we're talking about healing forward. I just want to share a short story before we bring in our new guest. A lot of people heard this in very different ways. An old Cherokee was teaching his grandchild about life. He said, "A battle is raging inside of me. It's a terrible fight between two wolves. One wolf represents fear, anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. And then the other stands for joy, peace, love, hope, sharing, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, friendship, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith." The old man looked at the child with a firm stare. This same fight is going on inside you, inside every other person too. The child thought for a moment and asked Father, "Which wolf will win?" The old Cherokee said, "The one you feed." A lot of times this is presented in different ways, but I do like that it's what we pay attention to. Healing forward is complex because we're dealing with the context of ourselves. Today we have a new guest. Her name is Cathy Nesbitt. Thank you so much for coming on and just sharing your insight on healing forward.
Hi, Robert. Oh, I'm excited to be here. I love that quote. And I was doing I'm working on different meridians. And this morning I was working on liver meridian. Mm-hmm. And that same exact quote came up this morning. So very interesting that story twice in one day.
Yeah, I think it's a good story because it kind of just emphasizes a lot of times we think outwardly what's happened to us. We only can respond what happens to us, but how we respond, that kind of inner turmoil is what we really are presented with. But before we begin, I just want to say thank you for joining and being part of the discussion. A little disclaimer: in the States, if you're in the States, 988 is a suicide crisis lifeline. Wherever you are around the world, I do encourage you to find that group, that colleague, that mosque, that church, wherever you go, find help, ask for help. As adults, it's hard for us to ask for that, but I think it's very important. But Cathy, as we begin, I want to start off with a quote. I like this quote from Angela Duckworth. I think it says a lot. I want to hear what your thoughts are. "Enthusiasm is common, endurance is rare." So what comes to mind? Go ahead. The floor is yours. What do you think?
Yes, that quote again also. Enthusiasm. Lots of people they're enthusiastic about things. Oh, this is so great. Mm-hmm. It is the endurance. It is staying with it, because we do get those, back to the first quote, those doubts, the negative wolf takes over sometimes. So if we're feeding the other wolf, it does help us to have endurance. So yeah, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity, Robert, to be on here, because what I'm sharing is all about joy and healing and taking care of ourselves so that we can take care of others. Because when we're in a mental crisis, it's not possible. It's not possible to even, care about the neighbor or anything else. It's just how do I get out of this funk that I'm in, this black hole?
I totally agree, and it's complex. I always emphasize self-care when I work in the mental health field, so it's something I try to use, describe in different ways. With the two wolves, who do you feed? Do you spend the time thinking about all the negative parts that are happening around you, or do you focus on something more positive? It's unorthodox, but this quote, like you said, being enthusiasm is short. If I want to. You see this a lot of times at the beginning of the year. I want to have these grandiose, I'm going to go to the gym, right? All the time. Okay, maybe I always kind of try to help people see what expectations. They never went to the gym. Let's just start with reachable steps. Where can you go and feel comfortable? But beyond that, it's the enthusiasm it doesn't give you self-respect, because there are going to be hard times. So sometimes it won't be as glamorous trying to do things better. So Consistency is the name of the game when it comes to self-care. There's gonna be they used to say to me, and I think this is true, the time you don't want to go to the gym is the time you should. Not the times when you're like, oh yeah, I'm motivated. The times when you're not, and then maybe you don't do 60, like 100% as you normally do. Maybe you do this 60, even though it's 50, as long as you consistency. And I'm using gym as an example because that's usually something that people try to improve. But there's other aspects, your social environment, who you allow in, who you don't. So anything else that you want to share, or anything that I've said that you want to comment on?
I would love to. I think that what happens in life is when we're feeling bad, we're looking for something so we can feel good. So we might start a new healthcare regime. We get up, we're like, okay, I'm going to get up early. I'm going to do the thing. And then what happens is our to-do list is so long that when we feel good, we forget about the maintenance. It's essential that we keep on doing those things that help us feel good so we can continue to feel good. Again, feeding the wolf, the good habits, so it does become a habit. I do a lot of energy work, and I have a very strict morning routine that is not negotiable. It's non-negotiable. I get up early and I go out in earth, which is being barefoot on the ground. There's different products you can buy, but you can literally just take your socks and shoes off and expose your feet to the grass. Or if you're close to the ocean, even better, or to a beach, go on the sand, go in the water. And I do some stretches. It takes me maybe 15 minutes for my morning routine, but it's really non-negotiable because I understand now, after all these years, I'm in my 60s, how important it is, because I know for me, when I feel good, I do good. I'll do the good activities, like I'm feeling good. Oh, okay, I'll drink some more water, or I'll go for that walk. I'll have that good conversation. But when we're feeling bad and we're feeling stressed, that's when we reach for the junk food. That's when we might grab the drink, or do the activities, the habits that aren't maybe as nourishing to our soul.
Yeah, nowadays, because I remember the time before cell phones. Nowadays, that becomes a thing. So sometimes just reaching to your phone and scrolling can be distracting you from something that's bothering you, or is a barrier for you. So it gets, I would say, I never like to. I know the concept can be simple, but the execution is going to be really tailored to the individual and how that will work. I do like that you say there's in the morning I have this routine that is non-negotiable. Sometimes we have to be that way with things. We don't respect our time at all. We have a lot of it, but we kind of give it away. We think sometimes we're more aware if someone says something rude or says something that we don't believe in. However, we don't really respect our time. We don't respect how we use it. So I do appreciate you mentioning that.
And the self-care, that how important it is that we look after ourselves so we can have the full cup. There's an expression, that you can't give from an empty cup. So when you fill your cup, you're full. So you're able to give the overflow, which is the abundance, to others. Then you can go and share, and you're fuller. You just have more energy, more ability to serve somebody else when you've taken care of yourself. And I think it also comes down to respect. Respecting ourselves. Like, we do all this stuff for other people, and especially women. I'm going to say women particularly. We have this thing, we got to look after the kids and the household and the groceries and all the things. And we forget to put us in there. So I'm suggesting that people, men and women, put themselves first. Put yourself first on that to-do list. And then you kind of knock it out. Like, if that's a hard thing for you to do, then do it first. Then it's done. And once it becomes a habit, when you don't do it, you'll notice, oh, something's off today. Oh, I didn't do my my routine, and it just sets up your body. I talked about energy routine, energy. I do a lot of work with Donna Eden. I don't know if you've heard of her.
I have not, but
okay.
Yeah, please share.
She does energy work, so she could always see energy. She's 82 now. And she created a whole energy program so people can kind of heal themselves from a lot of maladies, a lot of today's diseases. She had MS and tuberculosis and allergies, and she really had a crappy life at 27, and then was able to cure herself of everything. 82, she doesn't have any diagnosis, takes no prescription drugs. So there is ways that we can manage our stress, and back to the wolves. And the liver meridian. Oh gosh, I learned so much about this meridian. So all of our organs and our meridians, the meridians are the energy pathways in the body. And when they're blocked, then we get inflammation or we get some kind of ailment. Liver looks after anger. Anger is the emotion associated with liver. And liver is one of the most challenging emotions to deal with because people are afraid of it. If you've got an explosive, like if you have raging anger, you want to suppress it. You want to keep it under check because it scares people. What happens though, if we keep that in, it's just an energy, it's just an emotion. We need to either release it or suppress it. And if we suppress it, it gets in our body and causes trouble because it blocks the meridians. So it blocks the liver, and the liver is all about detoxifying. It helps us get rid of things. So if we're holding on anger and resentment, here are some ways that if somebody has a liver imbalance, here are some ways that it may express. PTSD, insomnia, fibromyalgia. So these are energetic diseases that affect the liver and the gallbladder. And I'm not saying it's simple. I'm not saying that it's simple to not have those. But if you look at, when I learned that, I was like, oh my gosh, looking at people that I know that suffer from fibromyalgia. And if I've known them for some time, I know their story. And they do have repressed anger. MS is another. There's just lupus. All of these, not all, but many of these ailments are liver related because of anger. So I'm really suggesting that people look at that if they're struggling with any of those, and depression too. And I'm not saying it's easy. It is not easy, but it's a choice. And I want people to know that there is a better way. There is a way, and joy is our birthright. It totally is. But we're in this negative bias. I don't know if it's society. I suspect that it partially came from prehistoric times when we needed to know when we were in danger. So we needed to know if there was something that would affect our body or affect our life. So we were attuned to that. I'm really wanting people now, we're living in this perpetual state of stress. We go around and round, we're in stress, and we wear it as a badge of honor, again, the to-do list. Oh, I have so many things. I got all these things to do and I'm so busy. I don't think that's necessarily the sign of a good life. Just that you're busy, that you have this big to-do list. I think that we really need to slow down and go back to, you talked about the technology. We do often grab our phones. I don't have a phone, but people will grab their phones, even if they're at a restaurant and the person they're with goes to the washroom. First thing they do is grab their phone, it's so uncomfortable to sit and just look around and be on their own. It's really a mystery to me how we've become so dissociated from life that we're just connected to our technology.
I think it's something that was not very much thought it would come this far, with phones. I'll tell you that much. I know even myself, I kind of jokingly, it's more like a stapler, my wife would say. I don't really, I use it obviously, but I'm not saying that with pride either, because there were a time when I used to use it and more often. And what I realized with it is, let's say I have social anxiety or some sort of barrier, and I'm around a group of friends. I'm in my 20s in this scenario. There's maybe something that bothered me that a friend did at that social gathering. Now, nowadays, because everything's so simply on your fingertips, I could just look at my phone and avoid everything. The problem with that, we communicate less, and we don't communicate well. And I do find this becoming more and more a problem. You mentioned, and I agree with you, just the self-respect. You could, I find, especially with my mental health journey, that helping others became my healing, but there is a caveat. You have to take care of yourself too. So it's more like, I see someone obviously working in the mental health field for over 4 years now. I just, you see the people saving the world, but not themselves. Everything they tell me is wonderful, like in the sense of what they're doing. However, I'm like, where is there time for you? I don't see anything in this whole amazing journey that has anything that will be helpful directly to you. And I jokingly said this, I think John Mulaney, the comedian, said it once, it is, don't be the mayor of nothing. Don't be the mayor. Like, just, try to put yourself first. And I do advocate, but it's a lot more complex, because like the wolf story in the beginning, I remember I mentioned this quote last month regarding PTSD, but I think it's a very, so from someone who experienced and has been through therapy through trauma, speaking for myself, I could feel in my brain, understand the knowledge that this is not my fault, or this is something that takes, but I could feel like it's not true. So it's like my brain is saying one thing, what I feel is saying another thing. And I feel that through therapy, obviously, I do mindfulness, I do everything that I can do to kind of slow myself, because I do my best work when I slow down, to tell you the truth, Cathy. I find that I could speak, I could do a lot, I could be busy. For what? Like, I could be effective and creative. A lot of times I encourage when it comes to self-care, to be creative. I ask them, are you musical? Are you anything? Do you draw? Because there's a lot of things that we can do with breathing techniques that are great. Mindfulness is also a great thing that I felt was very helpful for me. I still do it today. But another thing I felt is being creative. You don't have to be amazing at it, but if like, music can say a lot more than words can. A drawing can say a lot more. Whatever it is you feel that you cathartically express yourself. That has been, at least in regards to self-care, has been what I try to share with my clients and also remind myself. So anything that you want to share from what I said so far?
We can totally trick our brain. I love that quote. I'm a laughter yoga teacher, and in laughter yoga, we say, it's not laughter yoga is not jokes or comedy. It's laughing as a cardiovascular workout, laughing for the health of it. And so people go, how can I laugh? There's so many things going on in the world. And my response is, we have to laugh because there's so many things going on in the world. We're not laughing at, we're laughing because of. Because all those things are very stressful. And if we're watching the news, stop it or limit what you're watching, because what we consume goes into our body. And I don't mean just what we're eating, what we're seeing, what we're hearing, who we're surrounding ourselves with. These all have an effect on our body. So laughter. So we tell people, just come to the club and we will help you laugh. So our body doesn't know the difference between real and simulated laughter. We can just laugh, ha, 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 ha. And because we're making the laughter sound, we're sending a note to our brain, hey, I must be happy. I'm making that happy sound. Or we can just smile. If laughing is too much, we can just smile. Ooh, as soon as we smile, we've changed the physiology of our face. we've changed the muscles and we're secreting, right? A note gets sent. Hey, I'm smiling. I must be happy.
Yeah.
And then we add a giggle. So,
Mhm.
and then we start secreting the love drugs, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins, really the happy chemicals, versus cortisol, adrenaline, epinephrine, the stress hormones. We need both. We have two nervous systems, the parasympathetic and the sympathetic. Sympathetic gets us going. That's the body pressing the gas pedal. Like, it's like, okay, go time. If you're escaping from a situation or whatever it is, you're in stress, you're in function mode, you're going. That's the yang nervous system. The parasympathetic is the break, rest and digest. And I think that's a great visual. So we know when we're speeding along, when we're like feeling frenetic, we're frustrated, we're anxious, we're angry, all of those things, we're in sympathetic. We're secreting the stress hormones. And when we're in stress, we're not breathing properly. So our blood, lymph, oxygen leaves our frontal lobe and goes into our muscles, so we can escape, even if we're escaping our mind. Right? And so when we laugh, we're secreting the love drugs, we're oxygenating our beautiful body, and we don't even have to think about, okay, I have to breathe deep. No, because we're laughing, ha, ha, ha. We're exhaling. If we're going to continue laughing, ha, 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 we got to take a nice deep breath in. So the deep breathing is automatic. Although, having said that, we do incorporate intended laughing exercises. Or breathing exercises, pardon me.
No, it's okay. It's interesting because, like, with the laughing, it just, I guess, the more simpler version of that is just someone's exhibiting high stress, anxiety. They remember maybe some grounding techniques or some breathing techniques. What does that do? It makes your body feel that things are calmer, and then because of that, you yourself, they're all tied together. So if your body feels calmer, then you will eventually feel calmer. It's one of those. So I love, I do progressive relaxation, also deep breathing, which is like you tense the muscles throughout your body. And it's weird. I sometimes forget that it's effective. I'm going through something and I do it. And it doesn't mean anything's solved. It doesn't mean anything has been solved around me. It just means my body's calm, and then it's actually making myself calm. And I feel these self-care tips, and obviously, what you're doing is just, I feel is vital. And I always stress this, especially because with mental health or something more internally, it's harder for people to accept. I was a veteran, so some people come back without limbs, and they want to continue their lives. So a lot of times I stress this, especially when people get stuck, because they don't think they don't have the right. There's a lot of shame and guilt surrounding it. It's like no one sees it, so maybe it's not real, that kind of thing. But if someone had no legs and they has prosthetics or a wheelchair, and they still wanted to work, and it takes them 40 minutes longer, or they have to prepare a little bit longer to get to work, does that mean that person's valued less? And they're like, of course not. Then why not take that extra time for you? Whatever, don't be the mayor of nothing, but no one cares. Take care of yourself. Make you a priority. So if it takes me, I know for me, I sometimes have to take 30 minutes extra to do what I have to do. I don't find that makes me less valued. I just recognize what helps and what doesn't help. And, like you said, I have the morning routine. I have my own routine that I don't let really kind of sideways in that. I just want to share this one quote, but then right after that, I want to get into, a lot of your new guests. So I want a lot of the listeners and people who are watching to get to know a little bit more about you. So I'll give you the floor. But just to wrap up what we're talking about, I like this quote. It says, "It's your reaction to adversity, not adversity itself, but that determines how your life story will develop." So there's a lot of emphasis on how we take care. We can't really, as much as we try to steer away from maybe risky behavior per se, or but we cannot really say with 100% certainty what's going to happen day in, day out. But we can help ourselves in how we respond to it. So with that being said, I'd like to give you the floor to share a little bit about, to your comfort level, what brought you to do what you're doing today, and if there's anything else you want to share, the floor is yours, Cathy.
Thank you. Before I talk about me, I would love to just talk about, I mentioned PTSD at the beginning. So you're a vet, and you can imagine, I don't know, but I imagine many of your peers and other people that you served with may also be struggling with PTSD. And you think about PTSD and the liver meridian. You've seen things that most people can't even imagine experiencing unless we watch movies and stuff, and then it's just a movie. It's not real, but our body takes it on like it's real. You think about like PTSD is very complex. Of course, it's not just a simple thing of, it's just this one incident. It's compounded, and it makes sense that it has to do with anger. It to me, it just makes total sense. You have no control over the situation, whatever you were in, and you do your best while you're there, and then you come back. You can't talk to anybody about it, not the civvies anyway. Right? Like, right? We have no clue. We couldn't even, we can't even relate. So there's so many layers to all these things. And you also mentioned shame. And I recently heard, and I believe this, that shame can only exist in silence. And I'll let that sink in for a second. Shame can only exist if we stay quiet about it. If we're like, I'm so ashamed, I'm so embarrassed that I did that thing. So we stay silent and we just stay in our head, and then that voice in your head says, shame on you that you did that thing.
Yeah, it thrives in the silence and the isolation. It does a lot of times.
Right? So as soon as we voice it, the power is gone from the shame. So I would say, if you're feeling ashamed about something, go and talk to somebody about it, because it's affecting your health.
Yeah. And
your life and your quality of life. Joy is your birthright. Yeah. I know I keep saying that. I just, so a little bit about me. It's the 23rd anniversary of my worm composting business, which is why I'm doing the laughter now. So I'm located in Canada, just north of Toronto. And in 2002, our landfill filled up. And although we're second largest country in the world, we couldn't find a place to site a new landfill. And we started to export our garbage to the US. Sorry. That wasn't my decision. It weighed on me. I was ashamed. I was like, shame on us, even though I talked about shame on us as Canadians for shipping our garbage out of the country. But double shame on the Americans for accepting our garbage for cash, and not the people. I'm not shaming the people. I'm shaming the government for making the decision. Okay. And that's fine, because they're an entity. And I had a solution. So indoor composting with worms. So I set forth. And I have a lot of energy. And I thought, this is so great. Everyone needs this. People don't buy what they need, they buy what they want. And they didn't want what I was flogging, even though they needed it. And 2012, one more person said, ew, worms in the house. And I heard it, I felt it, I questioned everything. I was about to doff my important mission. And the very next day I was introduced to laughter yoga. Laughter yoga is not doing yoga and laughing. It's laughing as a cardiovascular workout. Laughter is the best medicine. And so I've been laughing since 2012, really laughing since 2020, when the world shut down. I took a deep dive into the expression, laughter is the best medicine. And I was like, what does it mean? Is it true? And everybody, I haven't met one person so far that has not heard that expression. And it's the truth. It's scientifically proven that when we're laughing, we connect on a deeper level. So that social isolation, gone. When we're laughing in a group, we're together. So with this wonderful technology, the internet, we're able to connect. And I think that was the gift of the pandemic being in 2020, because we had the technology here,
Mm-hmm.
so that although we were locked in our homes, we weren't locked in there alone. We could connect if we chose to connect on Zoom or on one of the platforms to stay connected.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge is that now people are kind of addicted to staying in their homes and connecting online, which it's fine. Online is fine, but in person is divine.
Mm-hmm.
It really is another level of connection.
Mm-hmm.
So the laughter, as I mentioned earlier, it's not jokes or comedy, it's laughing. So when we're, as the laughter leader, there's little games to inspire the laughter, which it's contagious. Laughter is contagious in a good way. It oxygenates our beautiful body. We're secreting the love drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Laughter is simply, well, our how we're feeling is simply energy. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's electricity and chemistry and biology. So it's all science. For people that are like, is there science? It's science. It is science. And we know when we've had a good belly laugh with our friends, we feel good. We don't even know what we were laughing at by the end. Have you ever had one of those where you're laughing, oh my gosh, and then you're like, oh, you're just laughing, but what are we laughing at? I can't even remember. What are we? I don't know what happened. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
We feel good, and our bodies, our body has a party when we're laughing. We're oxygenated, we're connected. There's a thing in our brain called mirror neurons. And mirror neurons were discovered the same year as laughter yoga, 1995. They were there all along, that nobody just talked about them. So what mirror neurons do is, like, if you've ever smiled at someone and then they smile back, or you see somebody crying, you might feel sad too.
Okay.
Mirror neurons. Very few mammals have them. Humans, apes, and some birds have mirror neurons. So it's a special thing. It has to go with our frontal lobe, I imagine. So it helps us with that, kind of mimic what somebody else is doing. We want it, and we're attracted to laughter. But I believe it's been squished out of us. I don't know why it seems acceptable for somebody to be in a depression and sad, and they're walking around moping, and nobody's going to, hey, what's happening? Are you okay? But if somebody's laughing by themselves, it's like, oh, stay away from that person. Something wrong with them. Like there's a disconnect in our society where we've sort of embraced depression and low energy and just like towing the line. And I think there's much more for all of us. But we need to know that for ourselves and step into feeling good. It really is a possibility. And when we open up our mind to that possibility of, I don't have to feel sad, depressed, anxious, frustrated, uncertain, which are low vibrating energies. We're very sedentary today. We need to move. And that's the challenge, is it's like, I don't feel like moving. So we just pull out our cell phone and we start watching funny videos or something. If we're feeling sad, we might watch videos. Here's the challenge. When we're on our cell phone, we have the physiology of depression. We have candy cane neck. We're looking down. So although we may be secreting happy chemicals because we're laughing and smiling, we are also secreting the stress chemicals because we have physiology of depression. It's really, that's a key thing. I hope people listening are hearing this, because we spend a lot of time looking down. I want people to look up, maybe put your thing down and go and talk to somebody one-on-one. Go and see somebody. Like you said it at one point. If you're helping somebody, it helps you feel better. So if you're depressed, go help someone that's more depressed. They say if you don't have money, go give money. Or like it sounds counterintuitive. If I'm depressed, how am I going to go help somebody? Because in the service of helping someone, it changes how you feel. You're like, oh gosh, I'm not the most worse off. Somebody's worse off than me. Always. There's always somebody better off and somebody worse off. There's people at the same level. Not that we're above or below. Everybody's equal. Just where we are in our journey.
I was, just thinking about self-care. There's this one story I want to share. I thought it was said really well. I watched the video, funny enough, on YouTube. It was this one guy his speech was very well done. But one part, he said, there are two people chopping wood in the woods for 8 hours. Two of them are chopping wood for 8 hours. One of them goes away for 1 hour. But the one that goes away for 1 hour chops more wood than the person who sits there for 8 hours chopping wood. So the person with 8 hours chopping wood gets really upset. He's like, why are you chopping more wood? I'm out here. Where do you go? And he says, quite simply, I sharpen my axe. Self-care doesn't always mean that you have to do something. Sometimes it's taking care of yourself. Sometimes it's sharpening, whatever that is. Sometimes it's planning. Sometimes it's saying, this didn't work. What didn't work? Why it didn't work? I guess my biggest concern about like cell phones and everything like that is not just that it robs us from communicating well, but it makes us have an avenue to avoid communications altogether. Directly. Working in the mental health field was a very challenge, imagine, during COVID, just trying to get those, obviously telehealth is better than no communications. However, I do prefer face-to-face. I do prefer being with someone and talking with them. And at the same time, I think what Nelson Mandela said it this way. He was asked, well, what makes a great leader? And his father was a chieftain, and he knows when his father was around all of his elders, he was the last to speak. We're told to listen first, speak later, but Nelson Mandela challenges us to be the last one to speak, because of what happens if you're the last one to speak. Even if you don't agree with the other party, they appreciate feeling heard. We're a society that interrupts all the time. We're a society that's so urgently, but at the same time, even though I don't agree, the common decency of being heard does wonders. So I feel like that's what's getting robbed when we're on the phone, avoiding life because it's hard. Well, I'm just saying this from my perspective, from my experience. It's just like those old classic quotes. You will miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You will miss 100% of the opportunities to better yourself in communicating if you're avoiding every single time it gets hard. But unfortunately, we do. And that's what's happening, I feel, is happening in some settings. So I appreciate you sharing that. And is there anything else? Of course, is there any way people could find a little bit more about this, those who are listening, or anything like that?
Yeah, so along that same vein of you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, failure is always going to feel better than regret. Mm-hmm. That's a quote that I just recently heard, and I don't know who said it, but I was like, oh, that, because we are so afraid of failure. Oh, what if I fail? Well, if you don't try, you're going to regret not failing. Yeah. And what if you fail forward? Like you try it and you're like, oh, okay, not that. You tweak it a bit. You try it again if it's something you really want to do. Mm-hmm. Yes. So, Robert, I have a free laughter club online. I would love to invite you and your listeners to come and experience the magic of laughing for the health of it. It's not jokes or comedy. It's laughing. And it may be awkward for the first time. If it's somebody's first time, I would say come twice, because the second time it'll be familiar. It'll be like, oh yeah, I was here before. I know this, right? That's what the brain does. So come. It's Tuesday mornings on Zoom, 30 minutes of 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 30 minutes of super fun self-care. I incorporate tapping, Qigong, brain gym. Laughter goes with everything. It's complementary magic medicine. It's high vibration. And just a little bit about laughter yoga. Started in 1995 by a medical doctor in India, Dr. Kataria, and his goal is world peace. And I believe it was started in 1995, so we could be ready for 2020. There's clubs around the world. And I really would encourage people to try laughter. Try it. Just even if you don't feel like laughing. When I came to the laughter community, I was really surprised how many laughter professionals came to laughter from depression. They were struggling with maybe medicated, maybe they're still medicated, but it's helped them manage their symptoms. For, depression, anxiety, like severe ailments that are debilitating if we don't take action. And, you can take medications, but often they just like dull your senses. They just like make you like a zombie. Like you're like, oh, okay, I'm not depressed, but I don't feel anything. Which that who wants a life of not feeling anything? So come to laughter, try it. If not my club, like a club. And the difference between laughter yoga, laughing as an intentional exercise versus jokes and comedy is, and we're not against comedy, we're not against humor, for sure not. It's just that jokes are cultural, first of all. If it's about two people going somewhere, not funny for those two people. So not funny for everybody. And jokes go through several filters very quickly. You hear a joke and it goes through the filters. Oh, I heard this one before. Oh, that's not funny. That's a dirty joke. Or that's not my comedy. What are these people going to think that I'm with if I laugh at that joke that's inappropriate? So all of these filters, and then when we decide, oh, it's a funny joke, then we can laugh, ha ha ha, and we might giggle a little bit, but we're not getting the good belly jiggle, because if we're at a comedy club, say, and we're listening to a comedian, if we laugh too long, we're going to miss the next line, and so are the people around us. So people are going to be mad now instead of happy. Right? So it's conditional is my point.
Yeah, and then I just want to share with those who are listening, watching, all those details. I do encourage you to check it out. Will be in the notes. Thank you again, Cathy, for that. I just want to, as we wrap up, I just want to mention this one quote from Helen Keller. I would like to bring Helen Keller in. Although the world is full of suffering, it's also full of overcoming of it. Final thoughts as we wrap up. Thank you so much, Cathy, for coming on.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I'm thrilled. I'm so happy to have had the opportunity during the Healing Forward month to be on the show. I just want people to start looking up instead of looking down, because when we look up, we see things, opportunities come, and we can imagine possibilities when we're looking up. When we look down, we can only see the dirt on the ground. Look up and see the sun and see the birds, and it just change your mind that something is possible. If you've been in the practice of negativity and depression, practice joy, practice looking at yourself in the mirror. Here's a tip for people. This is hard if you're struggling with self-esteem, but it's a practice. Every morning or every time you go into the bathroom, look at yourself in the mirror and say, I love you. It's a challenge, even if you're like, I don't believe it. It's okay. Say it to yourself over and over and over, and eventually you will believe it. What we say to ourselves really matters. Whenever we say I am, whatever follows I am, our body takes it on. It goes into our subconscious. So whenever we say, I'm such an idiot, cancel, I'm not. Whenever we say, oh, I'm so stupid, please hear me now. Stop saying those things, because it goes into your body. If you catch yourself saying that, go, oops, I didn't mean that. I'm not stupid. I'm actually very smart. Just in this instance, I made a mistake. I don't have the answer right now, but I'm not stupid. I'm smart.
I totally, I try to, when I work with my clients, even when I practice myself, is if you can say something completely positive. For me, I would say, I'm really struggling. I say, instead of saying I'm stupid, I'll say, I know I'm really struggling, but I'm taking the steps I need to take. This is like, you're encouraging yourself where you're at. So one thing I like to say, final thoughts, and is there's not one size that fits all. So understand, learn your context. That's the one thing that can be a very helpful thing for you. So a lot of times I have people struggling and beating themselves up, and I would say to encourage that you're trying something new. That's brave in itself. You're trying to do something different because it hasn't worked before. Can we get Can you be kinder to yourself? Can you be forgiving for yourself? A lot of these things are out of our control, especially mental health and a lot of this stuff. What steps can I actually take and see if it works? If it doesn't work, try something else. Try laughter, possibly. Try something. Be bold. Be respectful to your time, to yourself, that you want to be better, whatever way that means. So don't be the mayor of nothing. But also be kind to others. I'm not trying to be saying don't be rude to others, because how we project to others will affect how we feel about ourselves. So be kind, but not despite yourself. If you need rest, say you need rest. If you need it, and try to figure out a balance between the both, your responsibilities and taking care of yourself. Final thoughts again to you as we wrap up. Anything?
I would say if people can learn to say no. People could learn to say no to the things that don't serve them.
Yeah.
Rather than just saying yes out of obligation, take a moment and pause and be like, even if it's an activity that seems really fun with your friends, but you don't really want to do it, just say, thanks guys, not this time, I'm going to pass. You may need to rest, as you said, you may need to do something or just be on your own. Sometimes we do, but we feel obligated, and then we go and actually usually when we go to a social thing, we were glad we went. But I would say just create some healthy boundaries for yourself, so that you can nourish your soul, nourish yourself. Maybe it's not laughter, maybe it's a nice song. Put on your favorite song, dance around like nobody's watching, as they say. Breathing, humming is so great. What we're doing with all of these things is building up our vagal tone. Our vagus nerve is the wandering nerve, and it affects our joy. It's the one that governs our joy. So when our vagus nerve is putting us into sympathetic mode, we need to bring it back. So humming is our own resonance. It's like the original instrument, the first one. We breathe in through another piece is breathing through your nose. Breathe in through your nose. We increase our nitric oxide. And just one piece about that, I had bleeding nose as a child, so I had my nose cauterized several times. So I was a mouth breather, and I know that that's an expression that people, when they want to say something bad about somebody, they call them a mouth breather. I didn't know that we should be breathing through our nose. I really did. I had no idea. So when I started, I learned that if you breathe in through your nose, you increase your nitric oxide nitric oxide, which helps to dilate your blood vessels, more oxygen in your blood, lowers your blood pressure, like tons of benefits. When we hum it out, so breathe in through your nose, you hum it out, it increases your nitric oxide by 15 times. So then you just start going into that rest and digest mode instantly. So you don't have to meditate for hours. You can just take a nice breath in, hum it out, as long as the breath lasts, and you're going to feel calmer already, and maybe solution's going to come. Because when we're stressed, blood, lymph, oxygen is leaving our brain. We can't come up with solution. And if you've ever lost your keys, phone, glasses, and you're flapping around, you're getting more stressed as you're flapping around. You need to stop, take a nice deep breath in, laugh it off, apologize to everyone, and then you'll find your keys.
Yeah. I want to say thank you so much, Cathy, for coming on and sharing your insight with us today. I want to say to those who are listening, all the notes regarding the laughter group and how to get there will be included, so check that out. I'll say, remember to stay updated with Revive Ministries through various platforms. ReviveMinistriesFL.com is our website, and we're on YouTube too. You can also find us the audio versions on the website and also on Spotify. So again, this is Goodbye from Revive Ministries Podcast. Leaving you this last quote is from Jody Picard. She said, "Human capacity for burden is like bamboo, far more flexible than you ever believed at first glance."